Alright guys, welcome to the stream, and this is the first video essay of the series, and in this video essay I will be discussing my overall opinions of the Kanto region, aka the first Pokemon region ever made. And if you missed my last video, which I just filmed, I discussed some of the criteria that's going to be going into this video essay, and discussing how I rank each category of games, I guess. And just note, I think that all Pokemon regions are good. I think the franchise is perfect. Nothing you could change about it. But just because I think the franchise as a whole is good, and I think every region is good, doesn't mean that every region doesn't have its flaws. Some regions are better than others, but I still think they're all very fun to play, regardless of what I say in this video. Alright, with that being said, here we go, and these are my thoughts of things in Kanto. First of all, we have the Pokemon. You see, Kanto, it's very interesting in the fact that there's a lot of diversity in the Pokemon for this region, but at the same time, a lot of the Pokemon seem very bland and boring to me because it was, well, the first generation. And I do think there's a lot of really good ones, though, because, you know, once again, very original concepts for it being the first time that Pokemon existed. Let's see, I'm trying to think of a few standouts. Pokemon like Rapidash, Vileplume, Slowbro, Blastoise. Fantastic Pokemon. Love them to death. But I will say Kanto also has some of my least favorite Pokemon. Actually, 3 of my top 5 least favorite Pokemon come from Kanto. Those being, well, Mr. Mime, which I'll a little bit later. He's my least favorite Pokemon. Don't like him at all. He's weird. And let's just say Detective Pikachu did not help in making him look better. It just made it a lot worse, I think. Then there's, you know, Jinx. I never liked Jinx. He used to be my least favorite Pokemon, but, let's just say there's 2 Pokemon that passed it up. One being Mr. Mime, and you'll see why later. And then Chansey. I absolutely hate Chansey. The reason being is I didn't have a problem with it until the Let's Go games. Let's Go, and I'm a shiny hunter, so, you know, I look for shinies, and pretty much how shiny hunting works in that game is every time you encounter a new Pokemon, you have a higher chance of not only getting the shiny of the Pokemon you're looking for, but of every Pokemon on that route. And Chansey is found on every route, so that means there is always a very good chance that you get a shiny Chansey, and not the shiny you want. Which has happened to me many times. I've seen at least 7 shiny Chanseys while trying to look for other shinies. And for that reason, I started to hate Chansey, and I actually despise it now. Wish it didn't exist, and yeah. That is why I hate it, but yeah. And I will say the biggest problem with Gen 1 is that I noticed when I made a list of all my favorite Pokemon from each region for each generation, most of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon per typing were either new forms or Mega Evolutions. So, you know that's bad when the original base forms of these Pokemon isn't my favorite. And also another problem with Gen 1 is that there's also a ton of Pokemon that seem like they're in this awkward single stage place, whether it be Tangela or Electabuzz or Magmar. They only get better in the later gens because of their evolutions, so for that reason I think that the Pokemon overall, I give a 7 out of 10. They are enough, great. They were the originals, very unique. But with that being said, doesn't mean that it has flaws. Some of them still are bland. Some of them still are boring. For that reason, I must say that the Pokemon out of 10 for me. Alright, so the next category that I have is the story. Um, so is having the original Pokemon. So they had they had to come up with the very first story of those games, and because of that, most people could see the story as a bad thing because it was the first one. They didn't have time to perfect the story because it was the first. But with that being said, the story isn't a bad one because it deals with the main character and its rival, who always acts like he one-ups you, even though you beat him in battle every time. It's really annoying and frustrated with them. And then there's also the fact how, I also like the fact that, Giovanni is the last gym leader. You see, this, crime lord takes over a gym, and that's how you have your final boss fight with him. That's just a very cool idea that they haven't done in Pokemon since, I don't believe. I mean, I guess they kind of did it with En's Castle in Black and White, but that's different, I think. But yeah, it's something that hasn't been replicated the same, because and I like Team Rocket because they're just thugs. They're just out there to steal Pokemon. They're not like Team Galactic, like having a wanting of destroying the universe. They're just thugs wanting to take over the region that you just have to stop along the way, which I think is simple enough. It's a simple story, but yeah, because of that, I gave Kanto a 6 out of 10 because it's simple. However, I like more complex themes and stuff when it comes to the story personally. But it's good enough. It's good enough to satisfy you. So, that is why the story of Kanto gets a 6 out of 10. Alright. Number 3 is the characters. So, Gen 1 is known for having some pretty good characters. Whether you're talking about, the protagonist Red or Blue. Sorry about that. Yeah, whether talking about Red or Blue, or talking about Giovanni, all fantastically written characters. I mean, Red is the original Pokemon protagonist. Sorry, Ash, get the heck out of here. You're not the original protagonist. Red came before you, and therefore I think Red is the much better Pokemon protagonist. He's also the only Pokemon protagonist that also appears as a character in games following its game. So, because of that, Red is a very interesting character. And Blue, like I said before, I like the fact that he, tries to bully Red the entire time, saying that he's better than him, even though Red's clearly better than Blue. The character, not the color, even though I agree the color is better too, but yeah. And yeah, there's also, like I said, Giovanni. I like how he's just this boss trying to take over a gym. Very cool character. Koga, one of my favorite gym leaders. I like how he's a ninja. And I like how, in particular, in the Let's Go games, how he mentions the fact that he is thinking about becoming an Elite Four member, and he talks about his daughter, Janine, who becomes the gym leader in the Johto games. And then I also like Sabrina because she's very creepy, especially in the anime. She's a very creepy character that is probably one of, if not the strongest gym leader in the entirety of Kanto. And her gym is a maze. I remember in Let's Go, many times I would always get lost because of all the teleport pads there are in her gym. But yeah, I would say, let's see, who else is a good character? For the most part, that's it. I also like Bill. Bill's actually another good character. Because, he's just the scientist dude who turns himself into a Nidorino for some reason. Which doesn't make sense, but it's funny. Oh, and in the story, I forgot to talk about the whole the tower in Lavender Town with the whole Cubone and trying to look for its mom, and then it does. I liked that storyline a lot too. This is what pertained to the score of the story. But yeah, then again, there are some characters I'm not really interested in, whether it be people like Erica or Blaine. I don't really care for either of them that much. They're just there to me. And yeah, for those reasons, I give the characters actually an 8 out of 10 because most of them are really good hits. I think that Gen 1 had a lot of very solid characters for sure. All right, and after the characters, we got to talk about the post game. So the post game is the story that happens, well, after the main story. And I gave Kanto a 1 for this category because all that Kanto really has going for it is the plot line of catching Mewtwo, which isn't really a plot line. It's something that you just do on your own. It's not really a part of the story. So because of that, I kind of fault Kanto for that. And let's just say another reason why Kanto was kind of held back for this is because, well, in another gen that I will be talking about soon, Kanto is the post game. So if the fact that this whole region is the post game for another game, but this is the main game for, you know, its own games, that just shows that there's not really much besides the region itself. So for those regions, I gave the post game a 1 out of 10. Up next we have the Shinies. Oh man, what can I say about the Shinies? Well, there is a lot of really good ones. Whether you're talking about Shiny Charizard, Shiny Blastoise, Vileplume, Shiny Cloyster, Shiny Slowbro, Rapidash, Ponyta. There are so many good ones. Tauros. Oh my gosh, and my favorite Shiny from Gen 1 being Lapras. Fantastic. And Let's Go made the Shinies look even better than they did before. They made them all very vibrant, and they also allowed you to have the Shinies follow you, and you could ride on some of the shiny Pokemon. That just made the Shinies in this game matter so much more. Even though some people hate some of the Shinies, whether it be like Fearow or Primeape, I actually like a lot of them. I'm actually trying to think of one I don't like. Because pretty much most of the Kanto Shinies change. Oh, well, I guess Jigglypuff, but the eyes or whatever, that's all that changes. I don't really care for that, but besides Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff Shiny, I think that Kanto does a really good job on the Shiny front. Therefore, the Shinies gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Alright, number 6. The region's look. So Kanto is known for, you know, being the original region, like I said, so. But that being said, Kanto is known for also being one of the most bland of the regions, if not the most bland of the regions. All the towns are very basic, which is why I think Game Freak likes to redo this gen all the time, is because their cities and towns are very simple. And boring. I can't even really name a town in these games that I actually genuinely enjoy because they're just all very forgettable to me. So with that being said, I think the cities and towns get a 1 out of, or just the region's look in general gets a 1 out of 10 for me. Also because the routes themselves, they're either very short or very weird looking. They don't look like, I don't know, routes that much. They're not good looking enough to me. I just don't like it. 7, the region's music. Number 7, so another problem I feel like Kanto has is its music is, you know, all the basic Pokemon music. Stuff that you hear in pretty much all the games, or they remaster in all the games. I would say the only exception to these rules is Lavender Town, which is amazing. But besides Lavender Town, I just think that everything is just there and just bland and boring because, you know, they didn't really try on the music that much in Gen 1. I also give the music a 1 out of 10 as well. Alright, number 8 is additional features. Okay, when it comes to Kanto, it has quite a bit of additional features, whether it be like the game corner, the brand new shiny hunting method in Let's Go, or anything else really. Gen 1 actually has quite a bit of additional features, and because of that, I believe that Gen 1 actually gets an 8 out of 10 for this category because, well, it does a really good job of encapsulating what I think what additional features in a Pokemon game should look like, I guess. So, yeah. For that reason, it gets an 8 out of 10 in the additional features. Alright, number 9 is new forms. And, well, let's just say Kanto gets a 1 because, well, there are no new forms considering every new Pokemon is a new form, essentially. And since it was the first, they didn't really add any on because, well, it's still the first. So that gets a 1. And then lastly, number 10, which is replayability. Kanto's very simple. So because of that, it's very easy to replay. But because of how simple it is, it's also very boring to replay, which I really think brings it down a notch because why would I want to replay a game that's very boring to replay? Like, it's just one of those games where you can play it once and then be done with it. I just don't see a reason to replay it after the first time. So because of that, I have to give replayability a 3 out of 10 because, like I said, it's simple, which is good. It's just not something I would like to replay. Alright, and now that we have all 10 categories figured out, now I'm just going to read through all of the categories again one more time. So for number 1, for the Pokemon, we have a 7 out of 10. For the story, we got a 6. For characters, we have an 8. For post-game, we have 1. For Shinies, we have an 8. For the region's look and the music, it's a 1. For additional features, it's an 8. For new forms, it's a 1. And for replayability, it's a 3. So in total, I gave Kanto a 44 out of 100. So, yeah. I think that Kanto, because of it having less than 50%, that means that this game is below average. Like, this region's below average compared to others. But it's still pretty good. Just because it's below average doesn't mean I don't like it. It's still a fine region. It's just, you know, it's the first region, so they didn't really have anything to improve from because, well, this was the first draft of Pokemon, I guess. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and, yeah. Don't be too mad at me for giving it a 44 out of 100. I promise you, it was all just personal opinion. I don't hate the region. I like Kanto. And, yeah, I will be doing Johto next. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.